I hated the being on staff. I hated being in the Sea Org, but I was fully prepared to do it for the rest of my life.
Would you say you were a true believer in Scientology at that point?
Yes.
When we talk about being a true believer, what are the things you believed to be true at that time that qualified you as a true believer?
What qualifies a person to be a true believer in Scientology? Well, first, you got to think L. Ron Hubbard is like the coolest person in the entire universe. Then you have to have made the conscious decision that you are not as smart as L. Ron Hubbard. You never will be. And his policy letters are always going to be superior to any thought that you could possibly have. And now you're a devout Scientologist.
Really interesting. So what would you say your beliefs were at that time about the nature of existence, the nature of planet Earth, and what Scientology was trying to accomplish?
The nature of existence was that we all started as one great big being, great big Phaeton, let us say. I don't know if we called him a Phaeton at that point, but I mean, that's what it was. Then we split off into who knows how many Phaetons, presumably an infinite number, let us say. But that was all 76 trillion years ago. Boom, right there. Back then, magic existed. Time didn't flow the way it does these days. All kinds of stuff. That's when shapes, were first invented. Like, ooh, check out this cool triangle, for instance. So on and so forth. You're laughing because you get what I'm saying. You've heard the lectures, you've read the books.
Yeah, I know. No, as you're talking, I'm seeing the factors going through my mind.
Yeah. And Phaeton is the awareness of awareness unit. It is that entity which is not measurable by physical means, and it's infinite. It lives forever.
It's static, has no wavelength.
It's a static. It has blah, blah, blah.
Okay, good. So that's like, how about what Scientology was trying to accomplish, and what the fuck's going on here on planet Earth?
Okay, so this is a prison planet. We have been sent here because we are dissidents. In our last lives. Who knows how many lives ago? Who knows? I guess this planet's been around for however many billions of years as a receptacle for political prisoners and junk from other galaxies. So nature. What was the question again about?
What Scientologists even believe they're trying to accomplish with Scientology.
Right. So L. Ron Hubbard, they done messed up when they put him on Prison Earth, because he totally figured out the whole shebang. He figured out how to get out. Not only did he figure out how to get out, he figured out how to become the master of the universe, which, is a pretty cool thing to accomplish if it's true.
Yeah.
However, in L. Ron Hubbard's case, pretty much all signs point to him not being the master of the universe, this not being a prison planet, him not being our jailbreaker. You know what I mean?
What was your first clue?
Well, it was gradual. It was a lot of clues that all sort of added up. That's you kind of have to get the whole forest to kill the Scientology forest. You have to look at the entire reality forest. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Well, just some commentary. I remember when, I'm sort of fresh out of Scientology, and I would get the question a lot of people seem to think that Scientologists worship Hubbard, and I would try to explain how no, it's not really worship. You have to understand sort of the space opera story to understand what Scientologists think Hubbard's role is in this story, but it's not worship. They don't they don't think he's a god. He's just this extra special dude for some reason that he never even bothers to explain how he's an extra special dude. You're just supposed to take his word for it. And then the more I got to understand how Christians see God and how Christians see the Bible, the more I was like, oh shit, we all tell ourselves that Scientologists don't worship Hubbard. But through their actions, they do. They respect Hubbard's word the same way an evangelical Christian respects the word of God.
Yes, yeah. Like, I mean, if you ask anybody, like, is L. Ron Hubbard God, they would have been like, any Scientologist would be like, no, he's a man just like us, but like, you know, he's a super genius and like so much better than like your average person, and like he just taught us so many cool things. It was just,
You know, even when I was in Scientology, I couldn't help but cringe when people would say, mankind's best friend. Do you remember thinking or believing or hearing that L. Ron Hubbard was Buddha in his last lives?
he hints at it like pretty hardcore. You got Hymn of Asia, that whole thing. I mean, it's basically him saying like, I'm kind of Buddha reincarnated. I'm not. I mean, I'm just gonna throw it out there, but
You know, it's funny. Hymn of Asia, that book, is actually the only place I ever remember Hubbard trying to really drop this bomb that, and by the way, this whole thing ends up being wrapped up in the fact that no Scientologist actually fucking understands Buddhism, because in the book, he doesn't actually say I was Buddha. He says I am the Maitreya, or I am Maitreya. And Scientologists think that Maitreya is the reincarnation of Buddha. That's not technically true. But if you ask any fucking Scientologist who's been in for like 20 years, they themselves will have misunderstood it and will say L. Ron Hubbard was Buddha. Like, Scientologists will just say that shit.
yeah.
Okay, so that was true for you though. You heard that?
Yeah, I had heard it, but like, you know, I was one of those sticklers about, you know, getting like my data from the source. You know what I mean?
So you never really bought that.
Right. Yeah. Like I was like, oh, really? You heard that? And they're like, yeah, I was over in this lecture, and then like listen to the lecture and go like, he didn't really say like that he was Buddha. I was that guy, you know. Like if the supervisor was like, you know, trying to get one over on me on a certain point, you know, he'd be like, it doesn't say like blah blah blah. Then I'd say, well, it also doesn't say blah blah blah. So it's open to interpretation. I'm gonna go with mine. So see you later, dude. I was kind of that guy in the course room. So I was kind of one of those guys ripe for, you know, like, please give me some information that will get me the fuck out of this place, because like how am I supposed to, like, I can't just have these people constantly telling me what to do all the fucking goddamn time. I have to have some independence, you know what I mean?
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click